Hello and welcome back to Normal Island Live. I'm Lewis Aaron and I'm joined today by the wonderful Kevin. Kevin Logan, how are you doing?
I'm very well, sir. How are you?
I'm not bad. Are you excited by all the amazing news that's continuously coming out and never stops?
Oh yeah, I love it. We live on the most normal line. I just realised I'm quite red. I haven't white balanced my camera properly. Who cares? Just I'm gammon for tonight. I'm gammon. You know.
You can be the gammon. You can be the devil advocate gammon.
Yeah.
What stories have you been following this week? Because I just cannot keep up with everything. I don't know where to look.
I'll be honest with you. Mostly the World Cup is what I've been following. But I presume some sort of politics has been happening too. I don't know.
Even my algorithm's been pushing me of all people, and I don't know anything really about football, about that Norwegian player. Like, I think everyone's getting him on his feed. What's his name? Haaland?
Erling Braut Haaland, the
Yeah.
Viking. Yes.
Do you know where
Yeah.
he was born?
He was born in Leeds.
Yeah, my hometown. I
Yeah.
didn't know that until I had a little Google, but he seems to
Yeah.
be
He's
absolutely everywhere. He seems to be like a nice guy. Don't know, is he a nice guy?
He seems like a nice enough chap. Yeah, yeah. He's because his father was playing for Leeds United in the 1990s.
Oh,
Alf
so
Alf Inge Haaland. Yeah.
my dad was a big supporter back then, but he cried the day that Leeds got relegated. And this is the most amount of time I've ever spoken about sports on camera. So I will move on to the stories.
Honestly, if we get any more heterosexual, we're gonna have to stop calling it term bent.
Uh, let's move on to today's stories. But just remember, you can help us grow by visiting turnleftmedia.co.uk/support to help fund our work and become a even bigger YouTube channel and show and help our reach. And also remember, you can become a YouTube member as well. So coming up on tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the intelligence that says Russia might attack Poland to test NATO and its allegiances and alliances, according to some leaked intelligence coming out of the Baltic states and the US. Reform's new, but not so new billionaire donor, but I'll explain that a little bit later on. And lastly, we'll talk about the Green Party's strategy in Greater Manchester for the mayoral election, and we'll be seeing if it's working. But let's jump on to the first story. So, recent intelligence reports have raised concerns that Russia may be preparing to test NATO's resolve, particularly through pressure on Poland, the Baltic states, or other countries on NATO's eastern flank. So, sources close to Polish President Karol Nawrocki told Polish outlet ONET that the aim of Moscow's possible assault, which could be launched in a matter of months, would be to provoke tensions and pressure Ukraine's Western allies to suspend their military and financial aid. Now, the important caveat is that officials are not mainly warning about like a full scale invasion of Poland in particular. Instead, their concern is about hybrid warfare, sabotage, cyber attacks, drone incidents, border provocations, false flag operations, or even limited military actions designed to create confusion, designed to test us out, designed to see how strong we're doing as an alliance. Polish and Western officials are warning that Russia could try to exploit tensions caused by the war in Ukraine, possibly by staging incidents that blame Ukraine or make NATO members hesitate before responding. One theory is that Russia is considering this because the war in Ukraine is not exactly going the way Moscow expected, as we all know, but Russia has taken huge losses and it may be looking for other ways to regain the initiative. Now, rather than directly fighting NATO, it could try and create fear, division, and uncertainty, which is what they've already been doing for a while and a long time. Like, obviously, we're not here to kind of gas up NATO and make it out like it's some amazing alliance that's completely moral, but this is just obviously the reality of the situation. Obviously, we have to consider the relationship between the United States and NATO too under Donald Trump. Now, Trump and his team have persistently questioned America's role in European defense, and more reports have been coming out recently of the US pulling resources away and reducing them in different parts of Europe, especially even Poland. Russia might see this as an opportunity to test whether the alliance is still united. Now, in other words, Moscow may want to. Sorry, try that again. Try that again. Just getting warmed up. Moscow may want to know if something happens in Poland or if the Baltic states will respond with NATO and invoke Article 5, or they'll probably start with Article 4 first, but we can come to that. Or will there be disagreement between Europe and the United States? Kevin, I didn't want to go into too much detail about like the actual story, but just like the general idea. I don't think there's a point deep diving into where the Ukraine war is currently at. I'm
Yeah.
just curious, like before we actually dive into the Russia thing, firstly, like what is your general just opinion on like where we should be in terms of supporting Ukraine?
I am very firmly in the camp of supporting Ukraine and continuing to do so, albeit from an anti-NATO perspective, because fuck NATO. It is essentially an arm of American imperialism used to corrupt democracy in Western Europe largely, but increasingly in Central and Eastern Europe also. They don't actually support the Ukrainian people and are more than happy to smash the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian nation on the rock of defeating Russia. But in a general sense, I do support Western support for the Ukrainian people because they've been illegally invaded. There's obviously a disgusting, aggressive act of war that's been going on for many years now. Even further back, if we go back to Crimea, of course, which is still occupied Ukrainian territory as well. But a word of warning that I gave to the Ukrainian people at the very beginning of all of this, and has borne fruit and will continue to bear more fruit. Don't put your hopes in NATO coming to your saviour in the end, because they're not interested in that. They're interested in using you as essentially the Russian Empire, the sort of new Russian Empire's Vietnam. And that's exactly how they're using them, unfortunately.
Yeah, every time I talk about this conversation, when people are, demonizing Russia, I always talk about the idea of like, don't frame it as like they're the bad guys and we're the good. We're all the bad guys. We are all the bad guys. We're all doing bad shit all over the world and continue to do so. But obviously, they're trying to do different forms of hybrid warfare. I am curious though about the intelligence reports because they've been carrying out hybrid warfare for years, right?
Yeah,
We have recently had the people jailed for Keir Starmer's home being burnt down. We've got lots of other instances. I think it was AP News who basically tracked up until last year, like every single solid case of like Russian hybrid warfare burning down warehouses. I think they were
yeah,
responsible for like the trains going down around in Paris last year. Just lots of other stuff. So they're already doing it. I'm
yeah.
worried about the idea if they're saying this now, are they going to essentially escalate it? Obviously, we'll get people saying that this is us trying to do a false flag so we can attack Russia, which I don't think anybody's really got the energy or thirst for right now. But I don't know. What do you just generally
I
think?
well,
Go
I
ahead. Go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, I would contest that point that no one's got the energy for that. No country has got the energy for that. No people have got the energy for that. But the people who run the show, the people who want the NATO train to continue chugging along and are scared by the rise of people like Donald Trump or the recently ousted Orban in Hungary or whatever. They absolutely want this. They need to be as much saber rattling towards Russia as possible. And that's why this story is sort of a non story in a sense. Because when you read the headline, Russia to invade Poland, says report, or something along those lines, you think in your mind, oh, that means it's like Ukraine, they're going to invade on the ground. And of course, the report doesn't really say that. The report essentially says they're going to carry on doing the things they've been doing to all Western belligerent Western and Central European countries all the time anyway. The amount of accidental Russian flybys into Finnish airspace or Estonian airspace or Polish airspace has been, those kind of border provocations have been happening constantly. They have been consistently doing wargaming right on the border of the Baltic nations. We've seen even here in Britain and in the western northern outreaches of Europe, the Russians sending ships into the Irish Sea, going down the English Channel into British territorial waters, and all of this sort of stuff. They've been doing this constantly. We know that they use Russia Today as a quote unquote news outlet, as a propaganda wing, and they set it up in places just before there's an election so they can directly influence these things. They want to sow division. That's exactly what their game has always been. That kind of hybrid warfare is something they're very good at. That's why they were happy to influence the American election to get Donald Trump in, because they knew that would weaken NATO. That's why they were happy to go on the side of Brexit in order to try and bring that about, because again that weakens the European alliance. This is a thing that Russia have always done, and so for me this story is a story in so much as it's the head honchos of the Trilateral Commission, the transatlantic Atlanticist freaks, the warmongers, desperately trying to saber rattle in a situation that no one really wants. And that's why it's a sort of big story. But for me, the bigger story surrounding intelligence from Russia this week was actually that Peter Mandelson was considered one of their greatest assets.
I have been a bit removed. I've been deep in investigations,
Mm.
doing other stuff. Tell me that I have not seen this.
Oh yes, yes. No, reporting came from Russian sources that Peter Mandelson was well known to higher ups in the Kremlin, and that he was considered an asset in the British establishment. Not necessarily a spy or anything like that, because that's not what an asset needs to be. Of course, an asset can just be something that you can use to hurt your enemy, even if it's unwittingly. For instance, I mean, a famous example would be someone like Vladimir Lenin. The Russians, the Germans, purposely let him through as a Russian citizen through German lines in the First World War to go back and do the Russian Revolution to weaken a political enemy. It doesn't mean you're directly working on behalf of a government, but also he kind of probably was working on behalf of a foreign government. We'll wait and see if anything happens there. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. But yeah, it turns out that old Pete was, whilst saber rattling about how terrible Jeremy Corbyn was as a Czechoslovak Soviet agent, was himself, it seems, if not necessarily directly on the payroll, then certainly of significant use to the Russian government.
I think one thing that I'm almost like more scared of, and what kind of annoys me sometimes about these stories, obviously we should take like intelligence leaks seriously, right? It was the US who actually did release the intelligence months before the the invasion of Ukraine. It was accurate, and
Right, but also they said, nuclear warheads in Baghdad and shit like that. Like, oh, they're going to have missiles in 45 minutes. Like, you understand the game they're playing,
yeah.
right? It's like, that's not to say everything they say is wrong, but everything should be taken with a pinch of salt.
Did you hear about Netanyahu claiming the other day that Iran did, in fact, actually have? I think the word that he used was atomic bombs. Did you hear about this?
Well, you think he'd have mentioned it, considering he's been saying they're 5 minutes away from getting an atomic bomb for the last 40 fucking years. You think he'd have mentioned, oh, they actually got the atomic bomb, lads. Honest, they definitely did this time. We haven't, but they definitely have.
We all love a bit of propaganda. I think what like annoys me more about these conversations when it comes to intelligence of like possibilities of like physical attacks, which obviously are scary because it's the idea of something, physical bombs, hybrid warfare, whatever it might be. It frustrates me the complete lack of wanting to do anything for the online type of hybrid warfare that Russia
Yeah.
have been carrying out. Obviously, I think I mentioned it on the show a couple of weeks ago. I helped an investigation with Byline Times where we found that a Russian network that Tommy promoted on social media while he was in Russia was the same organization who started basically sowing the seeds for the foundations of propaganda around Henry Novak before anybody even knew the name. They were already 2 weeks ahead of the game before the case was even finalized, just getting ready to just try and amp it up as much as they possibly can. And obviously, they've been doing this for years. They
Yeah.
do it with loads of things. It's not just Russia who's in the game. We know loads of people, I'll just say people because it's states, entities, individuals who are at this game. But we see the harm that it's doing to society slowly, and in some ways it's speeding up. But absolutely nothing's done about it. But
Yeah,
we
wait.
should care about like the idea of them potentially attacking Poland. But it almost annoys me that they don't basically pay any attention to this like obvious foreign online interference too.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Well, Tommy Robinson, the Kremlin Gremlin, as I think we should refer to him from now on,
I
has
like little Tom Tom.
well, Tel Aviv Tommy, Ten Name Tommy, Turkey Teeth Tommy, whichever you prefer. Stephen Yaxley learning to give him his real cunty fucking name. Anyway, he's again another one of his best friends being done for making illicit images of children this week. Is he the man photographed with more paedophiles than any other human being in history? I don't know. Anyway, he was in Russia with this, like you say, this disinformation network and all the rest of it. The Russians have been doing this constantly, and we know they have. The Russian bot farm has been a kind of meme in of itself for a long time now. And the perfect example of the abrogation of duty on behalf of this was today, Lisa Nandy, government minister, rather than using governmental power to force Twitter, a known Russian disinformation vector, especially when you have such an idiot running it who will happily amplify bullshit disinformation, the richest man ever, ridiculously. Again, going to show that capitalism does not actually reward the best and brightest amongst us, but there we go. Lisa Nandy stated today that she was leaving Twitter, and so were her government department, rather than regulating them to force the compliance with actual pre-existing law or anything. They're just going to give up completely. Not only are we not going to fucking regulate them, we're not even going to stay and argue our case on these platforms anyway. What's the point then?
I think I've got actually a potential solution for this. So, maybe people can write their MPs if they agree with it. If the social media regulation is going ahead, regardless of anybody's opinion of it, if it is going ahead and we can get a win out of it, we can, which is if people are going to have to, in the UK, confirm through identity that they are, in fact, over 18 to be able to access social media, or 16 or whatever it is, why not just add a little piece in the legislation, an amendment that says that the social media companies have to put a little badge on somebody's profile saying that this person has been verified to have been living in the UK? Would take nothing. Almost like when Elon turned on locations in America, and it was like half the MAGA accounts were based in like Pakistan and like Sri
Yeah.
Lanka and wherever else around the world. I think it could be useful in rooting out a lot of these accounts. I think it was Politics Home, was it today or yesterday, published a little article about how one of the most popular restore pages on Facebook is actually ran from an account in Bangladesh.
Not surprised. The Save White Culture account that was being run from Bangalore was my particular favourite. Yeah, these people are whether they're being paid or by whom is difficult to say. It's very opaque. But yeah, I think that would probably help. But actually, I think you could go further, and with something like Twitter, in the same way that we banned Russia Today for being an obvious foreign disinformation peddling, democracy undermining platform, I think we could do exactly the same with Twitter and just fucking ban it. It's a shithole.
I think the problem with doing something like that right now is my same argument for a lot of things, unfortunately, which is the US would punish us. We'd have to do an international movement to make big moves against social media, and it doesn't seem like anybody's got the thirst for it right now. But we will have to move on to the next story, unfortunately, because the next one's a bit more juicy, maybe. So I don't know if everybody saw today, but we had a lovely headline from the Telegraph that a new reform billionaire is now backing them. He said that he's going to give regular payments and aspire to be the second or third biggest donor behind Christopher Harborn and now Ben Dello. But this donor is actually not new. The Telegraph published an exclusive article today with an interview with Sasan Gandhari. You may have heard the name before. I've covered it before. And he was with Farage at Reform HQ in London during the interview. And just to quickly add in, the photo here that you're seeing is one of the only photos in existence of Sasan Gandhari. I have helped investigate these donors for months, and there's almost no photos of him anywhere. He comes from a very quiet and shadowy background. He basically barely exists anywhere. But anyway, the Telegraph wrote in the article, to make a large donation to reform, Mr. Gandhari must not only be publicly identified on filings to the Electoral Commission, he must also be a resident in the UK for tax purposes, after Sir Keir Starmer imposed a £100,000 annual limit on political donations from British citizens living overseas. He confirms that he has started the process of moving his tax residency from Switzerland to the UK to make the donations, saying it's not going to be 1 or 2 million, it's going to be more. At this stage, I'm not going to put a figure on it, but I don't want to be number one. Number one is Chris, so maybe number two, number three. It's going to be regular payments. More of them getting involved, jumping in. But Sasan is a very interesting character. He's previously been, covered before with various investigations. The origins of the Gandhari wealth is still unknown and was referred to in Kazakh media many years ago as Kazakhstan has another billionaire we didn't know about. The theory is there's obviously lots of people post the Soviet collapse made a lot of money, and the theory is, by some people, not me because I don't want to get sued, is that is how they made their wealth. Now, the mother of the family is her enemy Parama. She fled from Iran to Kazakhstan, so they are framed as Iranian billionaires, but most of their life has been spent in Kazakhstan to the UK and not actually Iran. Now, in 2008, in an article in The Times, a former KGB officer and former bodyguard to the president of Kazakhstan, Abushli Nazarbayev, accused the Gandhari family of secretly owning property on behalf of the president. In 2020, a National Crime Agency case involving the president's grandson, Nurali Aliyev, showed that there were actually transactions of property upwards of £40 million in that period between Nurali Aliyev's father, Rikya Aliyev, and holding companies and trusts of the Gandhari family. Now, no criminality was proven. I just have to point that out. That's just what was shown in the case. Then we obviously have another investigation. The Gandharis recently paid for a trip for Farage to go to the World Economic Forum, and that was obviously, to take on the pesky globalists where they're at. That's what he went there for, not paid for by the globalists, but he obviously went there to, take them on, along with getting, tickets to the F1 in Abu Dhabi as well. But they have a more recent story. story and more allegations about the Gandaharis and a very dodgy donor, which we've covered before. John Richard Simpson, who has donated hundreds of thousands of pounds to reform, was not only an employee of the Gandahari family. Months later, we found out that he was actually working for an Iranian regime linked entity, which is sanctioned and under the control of the Ayatollah and the IRGC. Now, what was interesting about this is that this story really didn't get that much traction, but there is a lot more to it, and hopefully more investigations will be coming out soon. But I can't say too much on camera without getting sued. But the company which donated to Reform through John Simpson was linked to a British Virgin Islands address linked to the Gandahari family. So they have been accused of funneling money through that company to John Richard Simpson to the Reform Party. That has not been proven, but that has what has been essentially insinuated by mainstream media and not me, so don't sue me. And obviously, when it comes to this photo, I did actually show this photo that was on screen just a second ago, which we'll get that back up in just a second. This is a photo from Thailand from 2022. You can see on the left there, the guy in the blue purpley shirt, that is George Cottrell. Over to the right is Nigel Farage, and next to him is Christopher Harborn. Now, if we can just take the photo back down a second, the reason I'm showing this photo is because when it comes to the investigations with Nigel Farage, with his £5 million, I do like to remind people, because it's not spoken about often enough in the media, which is George Cottrell has obviously been jailed in the US while he was with Nigel Farage and Isabel Oakeshott, and also Andy Wigmore, if you remember who that is, Google it. He was arrested in the US for offering money laundering services to supposed drug traffickers, but they were actually secretly FBI agents. Before he knew that he was under a sting from the FBI, he instead said, "Oh, this contract that we're going to do, where I'm going to do money laundering for you, let's not do that. I'm going to grash you into the authorities unless you give me a shit ton of Bitcoin." That is literally what George Cottrell did to the officers who were trying to arrest him for a sting, which is hilarious. However, fast forward, he is out of jail. He's hanging around with Nigel Farage. They're basically seen together in lots of pictures all over the world, including this one in Thailand. And the reason that's important is because he has been playing around in Montenegro for the last few years. He has been working with one of the leading political parties there, who was in power for quite a few years and has been accused, but not proven, that he was laundering cryptocurrency to political parties in Montenegro. They deny all allegations, but the reason why that picture is so important is because Christopher Harborn, shortly after the photo that was previously on the screen was taken, Christopher Harborn opened up a company at the same address where Cottrell's money and finances is handled through his lawyer in Montenegro. Now, obviously, I can't say there's anything going on there. I'm just saying that has what has been reported and proven. And obviously, it's since then that Nigel Farage has managed to, personally get £5 million. According to Ben Habib, has been given another £1 million, yet to be proven. And there is a court case now over the defamation of that accusation. It's been filed anyway. And I think for me, it is, even as a person, if I was to take a step take a step back from this and talk about it, to almost not be biased, almost to try and be as objective as possible. How do people look at this, look at the network? You've got Sasan Gandahari, who we've just mentioned, who is linked to sanctioned Iranian networks. In the Telegraph article today, for the first time, he did admit that he was working on contracts related to the Iranian government many years ago, and said that his assets were seized by the Iranian government and there was a power struggle and a fallout, which is very interesting. There is more to that story, and hopefully more of it will be coming out soon. However, we jump over to Christopher Harborn, who, if you look at the history of Tether and the things that Tether has been accused of, just this week we had Christopher Harborn in another investigation where his refueling company, which has got American military contracts and contracts over the world, has been linked to fuel supplies linked to Russia. We previously had another investigation done by The Guardian where Tether has been used by the Russian government to avoid sanctions, and that means the profit that has been made from his fueling company, from Tether, which has gone into his pocket and into Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, has come from profits from places like Russia, but also other organized crime. Things like Tether has been tied to, and just cryptocurrency in general, tied to, everything from human trafficking to literally, buying underage child services online. The entire system, the entire blockchain, the entire crypto industry that all these people are trying to push is incredibly unsafe. And they're trying to buy influence into this. They're trying to create a network of people, of politicians. There is so much money and donations going on around the world to do with cryptocurrency. And that's why we have to quickly mention Ben Dello as well, who's obviously just donated, just in the last few months, millions more to the Reform Party. He was recently pardoned by Trump for a cryptocurrency money laundering related scheme in America. And now we have Sasan Gandahari, who is admittedly now going to be bankrolling Farage, who are all connected to very dodgy things and dodgy networks, who've all got all these different criminal allegations against them. And the one thing I can say on the Gandaharis, because this is public information that you can find on Company's House, the accountant for the Gandaharis, his name is Saeed Firdos. He has two different identities on Company's House. One is British with a different date of birth, and the other one is Iranian with a different date of birth. And some of the listings on Company's House of other people that they have worked with tied to the UAE, tied to sanctioned people. Now, I'm not saying that he worked with these people when they were sanctioned, but some of them have since been sanctioned. There are too many dark networks and so much dark money around reform, from Tether to Bendello to Sasan Gandahari and just many other people. So much of this money, even if you take Christopher Harborn out of the equation, who is obviously responsible for 60 to 70% of reform's donations since 2024, since they came into power, even if you take that out, almost 70% of all of their money is coming from people who are living abroad. Christopher Harborn is saying that he's now moving to the UK officially. He's just registered to vote. That doesn't mean he can actually donate, by the way. He has to prove that he's living in the UK. Bendello has said that he's now moved his stuff back to the UK just so he can support Farage. And now we've got Sasan Gandahari, who says in the Telegraph article that he's going to be moving stuff to the UK so he can officially get around the cap that was put in by the Labour government of £100,000, just so he can donate to Farage. Why are they all so determined? Why? What do they want? The idea that they don't want anything is obviously just for the birds and ridiculous, and no one believes it. But it genuinely makes me scared. I feel like when it comes to someone like Trump, who's enriched himself, that's just very transactional. I see it. I don't see it as that he just wants to make lots of money. The dark networks that are connected to reform and their donors, to me, are absolutely frightening. And I think people should pay much closer attention to them, even outside of the Christopher Harborn stories, because there are so many stories around reform donors that people should find very, very concerning. Kevin,
Yes.
hello, hello, hello.
Hello there.
So we've got the Sasan story, we've got
Yes.
the Christopher Harborn stories, we've got the Bendello story. Am I just naive in hoping that it's going to cause enough damage to actually really hurt them, as opposed to hurting them just a little bit as it is kind of
Well,
now?
before we get into the effects on Nigel Farage, can I just say, firstly, everyone in chat, round of applause. The work that Lewis does in terms of digging through all of this and his actual involvement in the investigative journalism is amazing. But I do have to say, this is how you get car bombed. Did you learn nothing from the? Did you learn nothing from the what was it called, the tax affairs thing from a few years ago, where the person who outed all that information, their car randomly exploded.
Well,
Who'd have thought it? You know,
just to
crazy.
quickly tell you, so when I brought up Nurali Aliyev earlier, excuse me, Nurali Aliyev is the grandson of the president of Kazakhstan. His dad,
Mm.
Rikyat, was a Kazakh ambassador to Austria. He fled the country. Funnily enough, the KGB agent who accused the Gandaharis of doing the home for the president, he was friends with Aliyev, and they fled away from Kazakhstan together because they were pinching money and accused of being doing other things. Anyway, long story short, Aliyev's dad, Rikyat, got essentially Epsteined. He was arrested in Malta in like 2014, taken to a prison in Austria, and everybody said, his lawyer said he seemed fine, and then he just mysteriously turns up dead. He was also accused of killing a journalist in Lebanon too, just FYI. Lots of dead people turning up connected to very rich and powerful people.
Mm. The Panama Papers, that was the example I was trying to think of.
Oh, the
Thank you, Jack.
Panama.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead
Yeah.
with dark money networks, rich people.
Yes. Yes. So, in terms of Nigel Farage, it's been so clear to me for so very long that he's been up to his neck in all kinds of scheming. Not necessarily anything illegal, because again, we don't wish to be sued. But it's very obvious he's let's say, incredibly comfortable with some of the shadiest bastards on the planet, up to and including, of course, being a permanent resident on Donald Trump's penis. Yes, he's been taking all kinds of crazy money, whether it be from crypto or from advertising weird gold and silver buying services or whatever, which again, not technically illegal, but a bit shady, a bit ropey. And there's been questions for a long time about the transparency of the funding. Firstly, of UKIP, and now and then the Brexit Party, and now Reform, because of course it's not really a political party; it's a PLC run and operated by Nigel Farage, which is interesting because the original sort of sleaze story of the £5 million donation thing hasn't really gone away. And that's why, in a sense, like I really like all the investigative journalism, but I do slightly wonder whether, in the same way that Trump floods the field thing, they just make it so there are a million different stories that no one can focus on. The 5 million was really sticking to Farage, and I think still will, by the way, because of course in private he's been telling people that he's really worried that he's going to be found guilty by the Privileges Committee and have to stand down, which would be effectively the end of his political career, because he's not young enough to really start again as such. So that would be interesting to see where Reform go from there. But with all of this dark money backing, even a new leader might be able to do something with the Reform Party, because those are the kind of millionaire backers that can really get a party rolling. I mean, literally, the Restore Party is just Rupert Lowe. But because he's backed by the richest person that's ever lived, that gets you somewhere, unfortunately, because we live in capitalism. Again, it always goes back to that leftist.jpg. Now, in terms of Nigel Farage, it's clearly that all of this sleaze stuff, all of this dark money, whether it be from the Iranian Kazakh British nationalist, which is an interesting phrase, or any other, British nationalist based in the Far East or whatever. It's clearly had an impact on his numbers. It's clearly the Reform Party actually coming under any amount of scrutiny for the first time ever. Like, obviously yourself and good investigative journalism has been sort of on the trail of Farage for 25 years. As soon as he's as long as he's been in mainstream political public life. But unfortunately, it's taken the mainstream media up until now, basically, to start doing any reporting on this. Otherwise, they could have taken him down years ago, because he's obviously been involved in all kinds of shady shit for years and years and years. And it'd be interesting to see, if he does have to step down, who would step into his place. And I think actually he probably will in the end, because whether it's the 5 million from oh god, I forgot his fucking name already, or whether it's a Iranian Kazakh British nationalist, there's so much dark, shady shit that they're going to cop him on something, because Farage has essentially become complacent, I think, in that for so many years, for literally decades, he's been able to get away with this shit without any real public scrutiny of his finances, of the way in which he does his thing. There's obviously been scrutiny of his political messaging, and it's mainly been Liberals tutting about him saying racist things, which is fine, you can do that, but if that's all you do, you're going to be ineffective, and that's why they've been ineffective. But now they're actually starting to really look into the finances of him and his political parties and his cronies, and it's so reminiscent of the way in which the worst people in American society coagulated around the Trump movement. All of these naked, obvious grifters and self-interested, money-grubbing bastards, some of which you mentioned in your actual in your explaining of this story, who literally not only gravitated towards Trump because they knew he would create a culture that would allow that kind of corruption, but if they ever did get caught, he would just pardon them. That's not something that's in the gift of anyone in the UK except the King, and the King hasn't pardoned anyone for like 160 years or something ridiculous. So that's not going to happen in this individual case. And it could end up that Nigel Farage does end up in prison at some point, if he lives long enough to see any kind of conviction of it. Because he's so obviously and nakedly, again, allegedly, been involved with some really dodgy characters, and it's just a matter of the legal people putting the two and two together and making the case. I think it's a matter of time.
I think what frustrates me the most is because I've been like deep diving, probably like just under a year now into this and just other things. A big thing for me was the Epstein files. There's still so many stories that could come out of the Epstein files, which is just there. They're almost like
Yeah.
ready to go. You just need to have the will to kind of like put everything together. Like no offense to me, but it shouldn't be me who is the first person to like put out the story about like Steve Bannon and Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage. Obviously, Navarra put it out, Byline put it out pretty quickly, but that was pretty much it. Nobody else really reported on it.
Well, exactly, because, like, as I point out, that's why I say to people should give you a round of applause, not just to blow smoke up your ass, but because it's true. Small independent outlets like yourselves and Byline Times and the Canary, who've just been debanked, by the way. Again, surprising the right weren't up in arms about that debanking. Crazy, I know. These are the kind of organisations who have been putting stuff out, whereas your average sort of mainstream paper is owned and controlled by the same class who are actually part of the Epstein class. So they're not going to report on that because that would be essentially self-incrimination.
I think what frustrates me the most, what I've learned over the last year when it comes to, because, we've discussed it on the show so many times, there's stuff that I'm happy to put out there myself. The Epstein ones are easy, it's just there. But there is stuff that I know that is trying to get published or people won't publish for lots of different reasons. And it frustrates me. And the one thing that I found is that lots of journalists want to be essentially spoon fed.
Yeah.
I won't say any names, but I mapped out basically this entire network between a bunch of people, which was very dodgy, and it linked to even more dodgy people. And there's definitely something going on there. I just don't have the skills and expertise to actually understand what it is. But the fact that the network even exists and these people are connected is damning in itself. I handed this to a mainstream outlet, and they just went, "Oh, there probably is something there, but if you can't prove criminality straight away, we might not be able to sell the story to people." And I'm like, that's your fucking job. I'm essentially handing you like this entire network that I literally spent weeks building. And the fact that these connections even exist on paper is damning. And because it wasn't spoon fed to them, they wanted the actual full story because they are doing something, they are up to something. They didn't really basically want anything to do with it. I'm aware of at least 3 or 4 stories which could be very damning to a lot of people right now, that if they were to come out and they are proven, it would be very damning for them. But for lots of reasons, they're not coming out. There is another one this week that I found out about because I figured it out myself. And I'm very annoyed when I spoke to somebody that I know who said that they decided not to publish the story for the reasons that they gave. And it frustrates me so much. And it is the reason to support independent media as well, because I know that people wouldn't hesitate to put these stories out. But I've learned so much about the media over the last year, which I didn't already know. And it just makes me think, what the fuck else is out there that I've
Well,
never even obviously even looked at, that they've just decided not to pursue or publish because maybe it's a good story, but it's not something that's going to get them lots of clicks or lots of attention or lots of money.
well, exactly. I don't think it's even just about the clicks. I think there are power structures in place to keep those kinds of stories away from the headlines. It's why the Epstein stories have come out, and who's gone to jail for that? Not many people. Many of them are still in office. Many of them are presidents of the United States or living in a castle at the taxpayer's expense, because the stories are just killed by powers that be. The reasons they give you are probably not really the actual reasons. There are probably lots of very good journalists who would like to publish that, who know that either their editor would sack them, or again, they would have to check under their car before turning it on in the morning. You can't. You can only go so far in pissing off the very, very powerful before unfortunate events tend to happen to you.
Well, if someone's trying to kill me right now, the one thing that they'll be saying somewhere outside my apartment is like, "This guy never fucking comes outside." um, but yeah, no, it's terribly frustrating. Obviously, I do want to say there is some amazing journalism out there in the mainstream. There are some good eggs and some very good stories that a lot of effort has gone into. But I do find it frustrating, and it just shows how much people need to really support. And I'm not even going to like plug Turn Left. I'm talking about like other media outlets. I would recommend people to support Byline Times. I'd recommend that people make sure that they obviously already support people like Navarra, which they already do. But make sure you go after the investigative stuff as well. Open Democracy is great. Declassified is fantastic. Even like more less popular outlets like the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, they do some insane in-depth stuff.
Well, I would say to support Turn Left, especially support Lewis Aaron, who will happily go and doorstep future prime ministers about their support for the Israeli government.
But we'll see what else I'll find, and hopefully some more stuff will come out. I did find an exclusive story this week, which I do think will be coming out in mainstream. And all I can say is I don't do stories on billionaires that are like this because I don't have money or resources and I don't want to get sued. And hopefully the story will come out, but we will see. But in the meantime, we'll go on to the next story. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Now, there is obviously an election coming up soon in Greater Manchester, but before we move on, it's 2026 and we really want this year to be a big year for Turn Left. We want to be more ambitious. And, you know, last year we did amazing. Our numbers grew, our support grew, and we always love seeing our regulars here. But obviously, we want to get bigger, get put on the map a lot more, and have a bigger and better reach with better shows. And who knows what more content will be coming out in the future with your support. But we would like it to be a very big and ambitious year. Your support over the years has obviously been amazing, and we're hopefully going to be taking it to the next level. But we rely on small donations. So if you want to be a part of a media organization that seeks to destroy the oligarchs, like I'm trying to do, then please head over to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support, and there you can support us with a monthly payment on Patreon, or there is a link for a one-time contribution. And obviously, you can also become a YouTube member for 99p. More importantly, as well, make sure at a minimum you're just liking, commenting on the video, sharing it. You know, just if you need to leave the show because you're going out, just leave it on in the background so it just keeps playing. It helps us. But let's go to the last story on the Greater Manchester mayoral election, because the Green Party has a good opportunity in Greater Manchester to, you know, continue making their name bigger and making their points about the things that they support. But it risks wasting it, I think, by pretending the race is something it's not.
You might have heard there's going to be an election here in Greater Manchester on the 30th of July. And it's a straight fight between Reform and me, Geraldine Coggins, your Green candidate. Our city region has changed a lot since I was first elected as a councillor here 8 years ago. People are feeling left behind. The sun is setting on two-party politics, and the old establishment parties are fading away. Labour lost 40% of their voters at the May elections, dropping votes across all 10 boroughs. This has created a dangerous environment for those of us who reject the divisive, hateful politics of Reform. But there is hope. There is a way that we can stop them. Momentum is firmly with the Green Party. We have surged ahead in the polls, and we've shown in Gorton and Denton and across Greater Manchester. We are the ones who can stop Reform on the 30th of July. Vote Green. Let's stop Reform again.
So that is Geraldine Coggins, the Green Party candidate for the Greater Manchester mayoral by-election that's coming up in a few weeks. She's experienced. She's rooted in the area. She's been there for 10, 15 years. She's able to speak to the public on, you know, good topics that we all should be talking about more, like transport and housing and climate and inequality issues. But the Greens have earned the right to obviously be taken more seriously with their successes in places like Gorton and Denton. It proved it. That campaign had energy, optimism, and local credibility. It felt like a positive, you know, insurgency in the area. It was an exceptional win. Now, people voting Green, you know, they're not doing it just to simply punish Labour, but because they could see a different kind of politics closer to home. That's why the current Green versus Reform framing at the moment, I think it feels a bit off. And I've spoken to a few people about this as well. But obviously, we want to know what people are thinking as well in the chat, because we're going to be coming to the comments in just a few minutes. But, you know, it might be useful on a leaflet, but it's not where the race kind of stands. The polling still points. You know what? You know what I'll do? What I'll do is let's just briefly summarize the gist that we're getting at, which is that the previous election in Gorton and Denton and the kind of rise of the Greens has been done off of a fair criticism of the mainstream parties in the system, but also there was a massive bit of optimism and realism that Green were, you know, going after certain places with massive momentum, like Gorton and Denton, with good vibes, and they won, even though the polling didn't say that they would win, and it was quite a large margin that they won by. But the difference between Greater Manchester now versus Gorton and Denton is massive. It's huge, the gap. And framing the Green Party as the only one who can beat Reform, that Labour's not even in the game, going for this specific type of approach may have worked before in the past. But the table has changed. The strategy also then needs to change. It seems like they're going for a campaign which should probably be retired right now. It's not relevant to Greater Manchester and a mayoral race. It's a different environment. The tables have turned with Andy coming into power. We think we still think he's going to be prime minister, right? We still actually don't know how the entire thing's actually working, but it does seem like he's going to be the prime minister, and Keir is definitely going. But ultimately, the Greens need to start shaping their policy and start shaping their voice and start shaping their tactics a little bit differently, because it doesn't feel like this approach is really going to work in Greater Manchester, especially in the bit of the dip in the polls that the Greens have faced recently. But let's bring in Kevin, because I'm really interested to hear his thoughts on this, because I know he follows this type of politics probably a lot more than I do. And how are you feeling about the vibes of the Green campaign so far from what you've seen? And do you agree with kind of what I'm saying about the approach? It doesn't seem like it kind of fits with a good strategy, really.
Yeah, it's missing the mark completely and utterly. I don't think the candidate is necessarily bad. I don't think they're the most charismatic candidate in the world, but they're fine. And like you say, they're local enough, even though they're, I think, from Northern Ireland, by guessing by the accent. But they've been a councillor there, and they're rooted in that community, so that's absolutely fine. They're not a bad candidate, but the actual messaging there is whack as fuck. You've got to bear in mind the very different political reality we live in now, as opposed to the one in Gorton and Denton. During the Gorton and Denton by-election, Sir Keir Starmer, KC, was going nowhere. He was going to be there. There was no actual challenge to him. Andy Burnham had been blocked from standing in that very seat. The "fuck Labour" message, very strong. That sold on the doorstep massively, because people were pissed off with Labour, both nationally, not necessarily very much locally, but nationally they were very, very annoyed. So sticking two fingers up to Keir Starmer was a perfect message to send to the people of Gorton and Denton, who absolutely wanted to do that. And that win in itself changed the political landscape of Britain. It's a bizarre thing that one election can do that, but it absolutely did, because it showed that not only did Labour have a credible threat from the left, but that leftist threat could overcome Labour, could overthrow Reform, in the same way that Plaid Cymru had done in the Caerphilly by-election, where Labour had been wiped out as well. There was a repeated pattern. They had to take the left-wing insurgency in the country much more seriously, which is why, of course, Keir Starmer at that point was holed below the waterline. It was a matter of time. They had to allow Andy Burnham to step in because you couldn't stop him a second time. You give him a difficult seat to win. He wins it very, very comfortably. And now Keir Starmer's going to be gone in 3 weeks, basically, which will be, that changes the complete sort of sweep of how you can approach this thing. Trying to say that it's a straight Green Labour, a Green Reform fight is obviously bullshit. Not only is it bad just on a moral level to fucking lie to people, and that's what's happening there. Like you say, the Green Party are a respectable third place, should be very proud of the progress they've made in that region and indeed across the country, but don't lie to people. People don't like being bullshitted. That's one of the things they don't like about mainstream politics, is that political leaders consistently lie to them about things that they can see with their own eyes. So don't do that. It's insulting. It's condescending, it's infantilizing, and people are sick of that. People are sick of dickheads, whether they be from London, from Manchester, or any other bloody place, telling them things that they know are untrue. And secondly, you risk falsely splitting the vote. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these people who says you should just stand aside because you might let Reform in. I'm sorry, the Green Party are here to stay, Labour. You have to take on that left-wing insurgency seriously and actually offer people a reason to vote for you, rather than just scaremongering about the Conservatives or Reform or Restore or whoever. You have to actually actively give people a reason to vote for you now. That's a thing you could do. And in Manchester, they already have the pre-prepared argument that Andy Burnham has actually given you some reasonable Labour policies. He's governed in a reasonably Labour way in Manchester. Now, whether the person coming after them is going to have the same policies or whatever is a different kettle of fish. But ultimately, that base of support for Labour in that region is both historic and based on the realities of recent policies in the city, in a way that it wasn't, say, here in Birmingham, where we had a Labour council who were wiped out because they'd done a fucking terrible job, as well as, of course, the national political scene. And so you risk falsely splitting that vote and allowing Reform in. And Reform have been terrible everywhere they've had a chance to govern. They've been absolutely abysmal. Not only do they not fundamentally understand what the fuck a local government is even supposed to do, But even when they do understand it, they still can't run it properly and end up going into infighting and people splitting off and forming different factions and leaving the party, or in some cases resigning because they didn't realise that they couldn't keep their council job and still be a councillor. So fucking ignorant of the basics of electoral politics in this country are they? But what you can do is, if you make the positive case that you should vote for the Green Party because we're better than Labour, and you split the vote, you can say, well, look, these are our voters. We didn't steal anyone, we didn't lie, we didn't bullshit to get these people. You didn't win them, we won them. Labour, be better. Whereas what you do is, if you bullshit people and you win votes, A, the people who have been bullshitted are less likely to stick with you in the future, and secondly, the good-natured Labour voters who are more traditionally progressive and more amenable to the Green Party, will take a look at you and say, we've now got a reform person in the town hall who's fucking everything up, is making an absolute mockery of the city from what was people were happy with their local government and now they're absolutely disgusted with it, and you did this by fucking lying and splitting the vote. That's gonna count against you both in that region and nationally. So don't do it. Make the positive argument. The way in which Zach Polanski has won a lot of support across the country is not just by saying politics is broken, these parties are shit, but saying let's do hope. Hope is a good thing. Let's make hope normal again. Let's do that. That's the thing you could do here. I think that would be not necessarily a strategy that's going to win you this election, because I don't think the Greens can win this election. I don't think now that Keir Starmer is going / will be gone, you can't win this election now. What you can do is set yourself up for the future, and this is not the way to do that.
Yeah, it seems like if you know you're probably definitely going to lose, I think a better tactic for this would have been trying to sell an idea which isn't for now but for later.
Yeah.
So it's like something else that you want to do in other places, whether it's, I'm not saying this is it, but like say if we wanted to do like, free buses or whatever like that, free transport or something, just throwing it out there. Like, it would have been better to almost like take the opportunity to sell something else now, because the part of the reasons why the Greens were doing so well is because they did seem fresh, but now this no longer seems fresh. This approach doesn't seem fresh, so they need to do two things, which is if they're still going to go for seats like this, hard with a lot of money probably behind it and a lot of people power, obviously not that much private money because the Greens don't delve in that area, which is a good thing. It feels like it would have been an opportunity to move a conversation forward and use that as a platform instead of trying to almost do the Joe Swinson, I'm going to be the next prime minister, oh fuck, I've lost my seat. It's giving a little bit of that type of energy with
exactly
campaigning.
The old meme of only the Lib Dems can win here, and they come in 6th and lose their deposit. That was a meme, and people still mock them to this day for having done that shit. Don't become that. Don't become that thing, okay? We know a lot of Green people are former Lib Dems or whatever, but you've got to kill the liberal inside before you can become effective, please.
Yeah. I was going to also add in, so Coggins is actually, she's from Dublin. She has been in the region from what I can see, at least since 2012, 2013. So she is a local in that respect. I am just curious though, and I'm very aware if this was a candidate who was, I don't know, from a non-white country or specifically not Ireland, and they were, we'd be calling out people racists maybe for saying this. But do you think in an era where everyone is pushing this idea of hyper-local politics, and even though she is local and she has served her region in different ways, do you think putting somebody in who is Irish is actually a good thing because people are really pushing on this idea of really, really local candidates? And even though she is, it's harder to sell when she's got an Irish accent. Nothing against the Irish. My nana's Irish.
No, absolutely. I don't think it's a problem because I don't think anyone who would vote Green would be put off by it. I think it sends a certain kind of statement, although I dare say it wasn't the reason they're doing it, that you stand up for people who are, here and prepared to serve the country in a way that the Reform Party are currently attacking. Is it the mayor of Wandsworth or somewhere? He's a black guy, formerly a migrant who came to Britain, stood for the Green Party, and is now a mayor somewhere. I forget his name. Apologies. And they're attacking him. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the kind of racism you see in the football, actually, given that there's a World Cup. In again, Ireland, both Declan Rice and Jack Grealish played for Ireland and then switched to play for England. But because they're white, their loyalty isn't questioned. Whereas you can be a black guy who's only ever played for England and only ever wanted to play for England, but if you were born somewhere else, or your family is from somewhere else, or you have an exotic sounding name, you will be treated differently. And it's a sort of a similar thing here in that she probably won't receive the kind of vitriolic racism that she would receive if she would been born in Ghana and come to Manchester 12 years ago and become an MP or become a councillor. She's a white person, so she's an acceptable migrant. She's one of the good ones, so she'll probably skate by. And that, to be honest with you, like, no one should face that, so I'm glad she won't face that, but I think it's worth pointing out the hypocrisy of the Reform lot, in that a white person who's an immigrant can do it, and they're probably, you might have a little bit of silliness, but by and large won't be like a racist-led campaign. Whereas you can have Sadiq Khan, a man born and raised in London, who has a racist campaign against him by Zach Goldsmith, because he's a brown man.
They're taking over. No, I still say that Morgan McSweeney, however, is an island psyop for the revenge of the last 800 years. I still think that.
You think he's an IRA sleeper agent?
Yeah, he's here to take down. He was here to take down the UK. Even was it yesterday when he said, "Oh, actually, we weren't ready for government." Was that yesterday? I think.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, no shit, mate. Yeah, obviously.
He's still bringing the Labour Party down.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just hope, we're potentially going to have another by-election at some point because there's the, I don't want to say what he did, but the Lib Dem who recently got arrested. I can't remember the exact charges against him, but that will probably trigger a by-election at some point.
Hang on, a Lib Dem got arrested? I didn't think the Lib Dems were capable of being interesting enough to get arrested.
It was... It's one that I never heard of.
Of course, they're a Lib Dem. Who's ever heard of a Lib Dem?
Cameron Thomas arrested on suspicion of assault and controlling and coercive behaviour. That was 2 weeks ago.
Lovely.
Obviously, nobody cares, but it's obviously going to trigger a by-election more than likely at some point. So,
what's his seat looking like, Doug? Because I don't know him. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you where he stands, so I have no idea of the electoral mathematics of who could win that seat. Yeah.
Shall we take a guess? Let's have a look. I don't even know where that is by name.
Cameron suggests Scotland, but that, I mean, David Cameron,
the complete opposite side of the country. It's I'm going to get someone will probably tell I'm pronouncing it wrong. Tewkesbury? Tewkesbury?
Yeah.
That's where he's the MP of. And the election at the last one was... This is very entertaining, isn't it? 2020, 2024.
Live electoral counts from 4 years ago.
Yeah, so here we go. Lib Dems, 42%, Conservatives just under 30 at 29.8, and Reform at 12%.
So Reform will probably take that then.
Yeah, so it'll essentially be a right of the left of the right to the hard right kind of battle. We'll see if Restore.
Honestly, there are so many parts of the country that are so fucking weird. Like, how can you have a Lib Dem Reform marginal? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, who lives in these fucking places? I've never been to anything like it. The Birmingham mind cannot comprehend such places.
I just want to know what it's like around Great Yarmouth. The fact that like he took every ward of the every ward of the locals. I think.
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, I've got a lot of good memories of Great Yarmouth as a holiday destination. But yeah, the electoral politics are absolutely rancid. Yeah, not good.
Anyway, I think at this point we can probably bring the producer in for comments. Hello, producer.
I have to say, I've never been to Great Yarmouth. What is so enticing about the area? I'd love to know.
It's got a beach.
Lots of places have got a beach, though.
Yeah, Birmingham hasn't got a fucking beach, so that's enough for me. I'm good.
I mean, is Great Yarmouth the closest beach to you then?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it has quite disgusting politics there, isn't it? Really interesting stuff, to be honest. I think I knew that the third story about the Greens was going to invoke the most discussion. But of course, we're going to go through all the stories.
I can't see a face. Who is this pirate speaking to us?
I mean, I try and downplay my Bristolian accent, so you can't do me with that one, can you?
You're right, lover.
All right, lover. Arr. You are not a pirate. I'm Steve the pirate. If you've seen Dodgeball, you know what I'm
That is-
talking about.
that-
And
look,
if you haven't seen it, then
If you
don't.
haven't, then you don't know the 5 Ds of Dodgeball, and you are poorer for it.
And Kev, what are the 5 Ds of Dodgeball?
Dive, duck, dodge,
No!
dive and duck, something
You
like
fucked
that.
it.
I didn't
Dodge,
like
dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
it. You know the name of the actor who plays that character, by the way? Great name.
He plays he's in Men in Black, isn't he? The older guy
Yeah.
who plays Men in Black.
Yeah. His name is
Rip Torn. No, not
Rip Torn. Yeah.
Rip Torn isn't he the scientist? Rip Thorne's a scientist, no? Anyway,
What are you talking about?
what are you fucking talking about?
Oh, shut up, all of you, you
This is
dickheads.
the most unprofessional beginning of a
Is
comment.
this flirting? Like, what's going on here?
This is like when a boy throws a shoe at a girl. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, should we talk about politics?
Yeah.
Everything's political, Curtis.
Is that
Well, even Dodgeball.
Even
yeah?
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball is very political.
Dodgeball has a fantastic anti-capitalist message within it. So yes.
Does it actually? Show me the anti-capitalist message.
Well, because the little home gym place where everything's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's cool and laid back and like you don't have to be takes on the Globo Gym, the massive corporate entity, and wins.
Yeah, but how did they take them on? Because they won a competition with loads of money, then bought them out. So it was very capitalist.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting
Oh,
it's
shit,
perfect.
lib, shit, lib, shit, lib. Oh, the people at the bottom win by being more capitalist. Is this a fucking Dar Man video? Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen those Dar Man videos though? They're so obviously they're so bad. No, you've not seen them.
No.
Okay, if no one knows what it is, it's this channel, and it's poorly acted. And they're like short videos of like moral videos, which is like, oh, don't discount the person who's got no money because, he'll come back and be the boss of you one day. And it's very much like that. And it's supposed to be like a well-meaning thing, but it's so unbelievably like capitalistic because it's always like the moral of the story is get loads of money and become the boss of that person was mean to you. So it's just so bad.
Flow Snake has spoken.
I do have to just say though, right? I did have to check it. His name he was Rip Torn. I was correct.
It
but
was
I didn't
Rip
realize his real name was Elmore Ruel Torn Jr. and he's dead.
I'm not surprised, if I'm completely honest, because that film came out like 20 years ago, and he was quite old then.
Yeah.
He played Patches of a Houlihan, didn't he?
He did. He was in 2019 and he was 88 years old, that's old. Yeah.
You talked about two different sports in this live now. This is a very unsafe space for me.
Fair enough. Okay.
I feel like I'm getting exercise.
I feel like people want us to read out their comments now, but it's like, oh well, it's Friday.
Flow
Why
Snake
can't
has
we speak
spoken.
about classic comedy? No, fair enough. Flow Snake, we will get to the politics in the comments. I'm going to run through the super chats first. So,
I just clicked that one.
which one did you click?
Oh,
What's
we're
the
doing-
sexual attention it's getting? No,
Well,
this
we're
is not
definitely
sexual
doing-
attention. This is hatred. Just
This
kidding.
is what you said. We're leftists. We can't get on. Obviously.
No, I know. True. Okay. Demeter Telfusa, and I'm sorry if I've completely butchered your name, but not gonna lie, that's hard to pronounce. Just became a member. I've not seen you before, so welcome to Turn Left. Thank you so much. LS RH4LE became a Turn Left member, and of course, Michael. We're always seeing you in the chat. Is gifted a membership. James Holmes gave £2. Said there's no moon. That's a Jeremy Beadle lookalike. You got to expect it now, aren't you? Every fucking show.
I'm issuing a fatwa against you, James. Just know that, okay?
Oh shit! I hate the fact that I've got a Ricky Gervais laugh because he's so annoying. But
It is Gervais.
Oh, let me tell you how much of an atheist I am. Oh, sorry.
Did you know your laugh is actually transphobic?
I mean, yeah, true. But no, I don't mean to be. Clara Ross with a £10 super chat. Thank you for your really generous donation.
Thank you, Clara.
Clara says they hate representation. It's boringly simple. Their future of the world is the sovereign individual, the coming economic revolution, and how to survive and prosper. The future is their disorder. Now, I'm not sure which story you were referring to. I think it was the second story. Can we decipher that a little bit?
Well, obviously,
there's a lot of theory theory work going on here.
Well, it was, obviously these people do push the idea of like individualism and like oneself while secretly colluding together collectively at the top to do lots of things. Obviously, lots of them are fighting. I spoke to Curtis on the phone earlier about today's show, and like, am I making this word up? I don't know, but like crypto feudalism is kind of like going on a lot in the background.
You need to trademark that.
I haven't Googled that word, so until I do, I'm coining it. But it seems like there are a lot of people in the background, especially in the crypto world. If you actually really zoom out and take a big look at who's messing around everywhere, the fact that Trump has pardoned so many people in the crypto world, and you've got everyone from the UAE, and even going back to the Epstein files, where he was really trying to push crypto around the world, and he was probably, I hate to give him credit, ahead of his time, no longer, or is he? And it feels like they're fighting for like the financial privatized future of decentralization, not because they believe in decentralization. That's just part of the narrative. They want to own it. They want to own the last of the private institutions, which is central banks and control of the financial systems. And I feel like that's a lot what's going on in the background, while pushing towards the idea of, individualism and whatever. I'm just rambling. Go ahead, Kev. You'll say something better than me.
Well, I was just going to say, you say that Jeffrey Epstein was ahead of his time, but now he's late.
Or is he?
Oh, God, here we go. I mean, like, it's true, though, because, like, it's kind of crazy. Because I said to you on the phone, like, obviously the...
Oh, phone friend!
Yeah, we keep in touch. Jealous.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Obviously, like, the sexual crimes, the rapes and stuff is been prominent, and that's important. But mainstream journalists really haven't really done a deep dive on the economic and financialization of Jeffrey Epstein. And there is, what I said to you, Lewis, earlier, there is a global coup happening, and no one talks about it. And I kind of want to use your point to slightly tease something from Turn Left. Now, many of you watching will know that our slogan is called Destroy the Oligarchs. But there's a slight disconnect between our slogan and the content we cover. Of course, we do go after politicians who are puppets for the oligarchs and the corporations. But do we actually talk about the oligarchs that much themselves? I would argue not enough. So I'm not going to say what it is, but there is going to be, maybe the next couple of weeks, couple of months, certain things we'll be doing that leans, I think, far more into destroying the oligarchs, because there is a real dark global financial coup happening, and it's quite scary.
The show will be sponsored by Meta, and the first guest will be Ian Dunt.
Oh, not that fucking cunt, Ian Cunt, I call it.
Sorry, go ahead, Kev.
I was just going to say, yeah, you're going to get sponsored by the Tony Blair Institute.
Right, I said spoilers, right? I was going to reveal it. You didn't have to ruin it, did you?
Sorry, my bad.
I was going to do a grand opening. Turn Left is sponsored by TBI. And then we get like loads of people like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is exactly what we needed. And then we could do really rare hourly interventions from Tony Blair. But, thanks for ruining that for me.
Sorry, I got excited.
Oh, go ahead, Kev, sorry.
No, go on.
Okay, if anybody's watching and you would like to put some money that's not from oligarchs behind a fully fledged documentary into all the crypto empire stuff that Epstein was actually doing in the background that still no journalists have really talked about, send me a message. He was literally I found messages between him.
Honestly, you are going to get killed.
Yeah, I do worry about you a little bit.
I probably am. Well, I'll impart this knowledge. He was literally texting the aide to the president of Mongolia the night that he won the election, and they said, "Oh, thanks for your help." And then he replied saying, "Are we going to talk about crypto now?" Fucking Mongolia. He was everywhere trying to push crypto. He was literally messaging with the Qatari Prime Minister talking about a Sharia compliant token. He was fucking everywhere. I am not kidding.
Hang
By the
on,
way,
how would it
they
not?
have since made a Sharia compliant
I was
blockchain, by the way.
Okay, but how would? Hang on. How would it not be Sharia compliant?
I don't know, but ask the Qatari Prime Minister. It's in the files.
Is the use of pork products in crypto? What?
I think it's to do with maybe fees and interest, maybe.
Oh yeah.
So when you do transactions on the blockchain, it's it's based off of fees and certain things. So I'm not sure how it works, but it's probably to do with that.
I mean, this is
Kevin's
the thing,
Googling,
though.
isn't he? Is he Googling?
No, I'm not.
Googling then.
But this is the thing, though. It's impossible to get hold of Lewis because he's either probably sleeping from being up until I don't know 4, 5, going real deep into some dark shit, and it's really important. But it's also when you don't answer the phone or message me back, I am sometimes thinking has he been killed? And my first thought is, well, if you're killed, then we need to find someone else to take your hosting slots.
Well, I have taken steps, so I hopefully can.
Because I can't step in. I do too many shows
Always on business. Always on business.
I've taken
cool
steps
business.
so I can't be killed because it would involve killing lots of other people. So lots of journalists who I've found out of the last year
all right.
are incredibly selfish and they don't like to share information. They just like to take it. So what I do is that when I find very interesting things, I share it with as many trusted people as I can. So essentially, they'd have to kill us all. So Kevin, I'll be messaging you tonight.
That almost sounds like you're trying to kill him. Because I got something on Epstein and I'm going to send it to Kevin. Whether he reads it or not, the oligarch's going to know that you've received that message. So it's we need to kill him now.
Yeah, Lewis is Legion, okay? You can kill a man, but you can't kill an idea.
Well, I won't be... I'll be blocking you then, Lewis. I don't want to die.
Pretty much. Every time I come across things, I'm just kind of it's just going to get me killed. Let's find out. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, am I your dead man switch? Oh, fuck. Oh, no.
Yeah, I'll be sending you some more stuff tonight.
Oh, God.
Antifa Vegan Boy, new TL studio coming to a dormant volcano near you. Now, what I can say is, no, there's no new TL studio, but there are developments happening, which is really, really cool.
Are you introducing a hot tub element?
No.
Every other podcast has done something like that, haven't they? Come up with something new.
That's for
we're
our
gonna be in bed. We're going to be outside. Let's do it from a hot tub.
That's for our after show called Turn Left After Dark, and the cameras are strictly to record, not live stream.
Fair enough.
So, no. So I don't want to say anything on the live, but we don't have a new studio. We haven't got that much money yet. But there is some cool visual shit happening. Anyway, let's continue with the super chat. All your comments actually. Okay, Flow Snake, staggering. And I know this is nothing to do with the stories, but it came up anyway. Was it Owen or Damo reporting that the only mainstream media standing up for the Canary was GBBs? Now, I can't speak for Owen or Damo. However, I did tweet the other day a clip of Reem Ibrahim on GB News, and I did make the point that GB News were the only ones that talked about it. I'm not saying that you saw my tweet and saw that. Maybe Owen and Damo made the point that GB News were the only ones, but I also made the point that BBC, ITV, and Channel 4 did not mention the debanking of the Canary. You literally had GB News speak about it. They released an article, and there was a segment with Jacob Rees-Mogg and Reem Ibrahim. Now, of course, their analysis was entirely wrong, but they at least spoke about it. What does that say to both of you? What does that say, not about how great GB News is, but what does it say to the existing legacy media?
Yeah, I'm just checking now. So actually, you're wrong. City AM also covered it, and so did the National in Scotland. So
no, to be fair, I did say BBC.
I'm being kind of sarcastic because it's
no. How
still
dare
not
you?
Big enough.
How dare you? No. But what does it say that our the UK's based mainstream broadcast channels? And to be fair, I don't know if ITV, BBC, or Channel 4 have even done an article on it.
Yeah, because they're shit. Because they're absolutely fucking terrible. They're not journalists. They're a joke.
But why do you think that GB News has picked it up? I have my theory, but obviously I
Well,
want to hear what you've got to say.
well, because they're annoyed that Nazis get debanked, so they're against all debanking on a kind of basis of utilitarian calculus on their half.
Have they stopped printing? Do they have the funds for it?
So no, the Canary, the first printing batch was only supposed to be temporary. Then of course, the debanking happened, so they are obviously restricted of funds. So they were only going to do a temporary thing, but of course the restriction of funds have meant that also they couldn't carry it on. They will be resuming, but obviously I don't think they're going to be resuming as quick as they wanted to.
All I'll say is, Canary, I will happily write for you for free.
Well, some people have been paid, not the Canary. But I don't know if it's everyone. Now, I really want to quickly comment on the GB News thing, right?
And I'll swear less if you let me write for you.
Yeah, less like disgusting jokes. Actually, they swear in the Canary, I think. Just whack it in there. The thing with GB News is, I know you said that they're only pretending to care about left-wing debanking to push the right-wing debanking. An element of that is probably true. But I actually think there's a different reason. And I think even though GB News acts exactly like the corporate media, they are newer. Therefore, so Turn Left has been on GB News many times, right? Whereas I think we had one invitation from the BBC during the Your Party conference, but it was a very specific thing. It's like, oh, we know you're Your Party. Do you want to come on BBC Five Live? Obviously, we didn't see that email. Whereas GB News asked us to go on a lot. And I do think there is an element of the BBC look down on YouTubers and smaller independent media. They go, oh, they're not sensible and proper. And they've got their own connections. They've got their list of people they want to contact. Whereas GB News, and this is not me praising them, but I think they do understand, partly because they're just newer, that they get new media, that they are willing to reach out to people on YouTube or smaller platforms. So I do wonder that that's part of, as horrifically as right-wing as GB News is, they don't gatekeep as much as someone like the BBC or ITV or Channel 4.
That is true, but I do have to say, the BBC, you say the BBC looks down on YouTubers, but they have Piers Morgan on all the time.
Hey, he is a YouTuber.
Do you think also as well, because depending on what kind of like sphere you're in or what algorithm you're in, there's still people out there who don't even know who the Canary is, just regular people. It may be an outlet.
Yeah, but the BBC know.
The BBC know because the founder, Mendoza, I forget her first name now. My former boss, I probably should remember her first name. She was on the BBC. No, she wasn't on there a lot, but she was obviously interviewed on BBC Radio. Like, the BBC categorically know who the Canary are. The Canary have existed for a very, very long time.
The BBC is one of the foremost information gathering sources on Earth. They absolutely know who the Canary are. They've chosen purposefully not to report on them.
Yeah. Because with the BBC as well, I wouldn't say wider, as we all know, thanks to Paul Holden, the Canary were literally targeted by Morgan McSweeney. And they said, we will destroy the Canary or the Canary will destroy us. Now, I'm not saying there's a link between the debanking, but the Canary are extremely well known. I mean, they are considered... I don't know if they're as big as Navarra now, but before Navarra really got traction, they were considered the biggest left-wing organisation. So they are absolutely known. The fact that the BBC won't talk about them is 100% just the editorial deciding not to, because of course they will talk about Nigel Farage. And the funny thing is, like, Nigel Farage wasn't even debanked.
No, exactly. He just couldn't have his fancy account with the posh bank.
Which is so funny, because like he's got all this millions and stuff, but if only Christopher Harborn came a bit earlier, he'd have kept his Coots account. But now he can't. Having said that, if Nigel Farage was genuinely debanked, look, I would not support it. Like, I am not against GB News being pulled off air because they keep breaking Ofcom rules and they just push like lies and misinformation slop. I would not bat an eyelid, but I would never ever in the world ever support debanking, because the way in which the staff at the Canary don't get paid, and they're all working, well, most of them working class, can't pay for their rent and bills. There will be people at GB News who will just, the audio engineers or the graphic designers, they don't have anything to do with the editorial. Like, they won't get paid either. So, like, I am really against debanking across the board. But, like, if they had to be pulled off air, I'd be like, yeah, fuck them. I mean, most of their views come online anyway.
Not that I want to create more bureaucracy, but they're obviously within the rules of this. Obviously, the rules exist for a reason, but they obviously need to exist with obviously some more nuance. When you've got there's different things that are sensitive, right? A media outlet, I hate to praise America in any way, but obviously media has a lot more protection, even though it's actually ranked worse in America under the First Amendment in terms of its importance. But we don't have actually a lot of the same protections over here. That if a bank actually wanted to just say no to an outlet, they could just do that. If they wanted, they could just debank them. The issues that we have around that, as well as what you're saying too, when it comes to an entire company, the fact that somebody can be debanked through some sort of process, whatever it might be, and then their entire funds get cut off, hundreds of people, maybe thousands could be waiting for pay. It does seem like whatever this process is and the reasons why they've created it in this way perhaps needs to change a little bit. It's different with an individual, but an entire organization is just wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Adam Law says, I take it you haven't been asked on GB News after the cuck rant. I have. I get asked all the time, but most of the time it's like, do you want to talk about this refugee that did this, that? I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking talk about that. Like, first of all, there are people who can talk about immigration better than me and refugees and stuff. Like, I fully get that. And I prefer to talk about, like, economics, but like, there are certain stories where I can look at and it's like, I'm not going to talk about it. And 90% of the messages I get are like, this refugee did this. No, I'm like, no, I'm not coming on.
Who was it who recently invited me on Talk TV? I sent you the message because I was like, do you want to go on?
It was Samara Gill, and it was a story because I wanted to do it actually. Andy Twelves did it instead, but I can't remember what it was about now.
Lads, all I'm saying,
Samuel Lee's the landlord thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think that was what it was.
Look, I'm not going on for that topic.
I'm not officially
Brilliant.
like a part of Turn Left, but if you ever need someone to just go on and rant, I can do that for you.
Would you?
Yeah,
because
100%.
Oh, okay, because I sometimes when I can't make it, they're like, you got anyone to recommend?
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to fucking London to do it, but if I can do it on a webcam, yeah. Right.
I think most of the time these days they're doing it like down the line, because I think we've all now agreed that GB News are legitimate and there's no boycotting anymore. Like, I was really angry when Gloria Di Piera, the former Labour MP, and like back in 2020 when like the studio was falling apart, it wasn't legitimate, and I was so angry that Labour MPs went on that, because there's a weight of authority with an MP. So by going on there, they literally legitimised them. But fast forward 6 years, I'm sorry, they are legitimised. So yeah, Kevin, if you're interested in going, I'll definitely pass.
I'm just not. The problem is like I've been invited onto a few different things, but it's always the topics which I fucking hate. Like, I would rather like
most of the time there will be though.
Like, it could be like one topic could be something to do with like Israel, which I would happily talk about because I've got so much knowledge on that and things that I want to say that don't get said. Then the next will be, is Megan a cunt? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about Megan. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to do research on Megan just to go on so I can talk about another topic that I care about. So no.
Well, I mean, that's what you'd be better suited not doing a studio show where you're there for an hour and you talk about multiple topics, to do like a 10-minute Zoom where it's one topic. But I've noticed, like, for a while, GB News were asking about Israel Palestine. They never ask about that now. Let's talk about comments about the actual stories there. I think
we've not got to those yet.
Well, because what they want is like viral moments, and so like the fact that the quote.
Well, Adam Brooks called someone a lefty twat, right?
Yeah.
And that was a viral moment. And I'm thinking, well, everything that Adam Brooks says is worse than shit. Like, he genuinely is such a stupid fuck. It's embarrassing. And you see him on Twitter, he's such a boomer. The way he tweets, it's really embarrassing. But
I had the pleasure of saying to Alex Armstrong, like, who's paying you to put out your propaganda? I've had 2 debates with him, but they were...
He's got worse.
He's
got so much worse.
He's going way more extreme. He's trying to be more Patrick Christie. I think he's trying to like overtake, because Patrick is probably seen as probably one of the most extreme on the show. I think
Patrick Christie is genuinely a racist, and
Patrick Christie. What?
Christie, but Patrick Christie is actually like disgusting.
Oh yeah, I think he would sign up. Well, I'm not even going to say it. I'll get fucking sued.
he probably would be. I guarantee he's fucking giving money to Restore. Like he's a Restore guy. He probably thinks Reform is like left wing.
He probably saw the Daily Mail headline of all the Nazis in it and was like, "Fucking good."
Citation in Minecraft. Okay, so Michael says in regards to Russia, well, the intelligence services saying that Russia could attack Poland. This is really good for Michael. Can't we just ask the Russia's great asset, Peter Mandelson? And Peter Mandelson probably would fucking know.
They can hire him as a national security advisor. You're an expert on Russia, right?
Look, it shouldn't be surprising. Look, we know that he stayed on the board of that Russian company with ties to the Kremlin after the invasion of Ukraine. So we should be. It's not surprising in the slightest that he would be a Russian asset. Of course he would. Yeah.
I'm just going to run to the toilet.
Who is it nowadays?
I'm going to quickly run to the toilet, but I want to put up this comment because this is really interesting. Actual Intrepid says, I think it's bollocks. Intelligence services are paranoid, and follows up with, it's just deployed to force countries to up their contributions to NATO. I'm going to run to the toilet, but I really want you to discuss this.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're still watching as well.
I would agree with the possibility of that, but the intelligence first actually came from the Baltic states, then the US backed it up essentially. So the intelligence did come from, I think it was Latvia and.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't take much for an American agent to put that information into the hands of a Latvian or whatever. Like I don't want to be too conspiratorial about it, but it's so obvious that the powers that be at NATO are scared, and so they need to reinforce the reason why NATO exists.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm just thinking about, don't worry, NATO will be fine. Keir Starmer wants to run it after he leaves the office.
Oh, God. Do you know what? You've done such a good job at killing the Labour Party, Keir. Please become the Secretary General of NATO. Please. Angel of Death Starmer, please.
Take McSweeney with you.
Exactly.
And Reeves.
Absolutely amazing, yeah. Love it.
Sorry, but if people didn't know, Keir Starmer has said that he would like to be the Secretary General of NATO in the future. He'd love that job. I'm sure he'd do a fantastic one.
Just when you thought Mark Rutte was the most briefcase cunt that would ever hold that position, up steps Sir Keir. Let's go.
Because I end up consuming a lot of intelligence and a lot of intelligence reports, it's easier to sometimes pick out which are the ones which seem more authentic and less propagandary. Like, for example, Netanyahu saying, oh, they did actually have nuclear weapons. Not true. But yeah, there's certain reports that when they come out, you can see which ones have at least some more truth in them than the others. But ultimately, if this increased the, GDP like it did last year for the US, that was a massive increase in GDP because of weapons sales. They'll happily take it, obviously.
Yeah, of course it will. Yeah, absolutely. All of the people who make money out of, or indeed political clout out of NATO remaining the military force on the continent, are exactly the kind of people who would make some shit like this up, or put information into the hands of, grateful Latvian diplomats. Of course, yeah.
Are you back?
Sorry. Yeah, I obviously.
Did you wash your hands?
Comment. Yeah, of course. I didn't hear your comments, but
what a fucking producer, Jesus.
But I do think, do they really need to force countries to up their contributions? A lot of countries seem to be willingly we'll up our contributions. Which state has ever been squeamish about spending more on military? That seems to be the consensus. I mean, it's happening now in our country, which is let's cut welfare to boost spending on when it comes to, I think 2.5% we're asking for GDP on NATO. It might even be more. I mean, in fact, this is so funny. Al Cairns, who obviously has no chance of ever being a leader,
my MP, let's go.
He's your MP as well. Was 2.5%, 3.5%. That ain't the floor. Oh, sorry, that's not the ceiling. That's the floor. I'm like, this is crazy. So I don't know if there needs to be an invention to get people to support imperialism, because we naturally sort of gravitate towards that.
The fact that he's in the Labour Party just shows how right wing they've become. Ridiculous.
Well,
I don't even know much about him, though.
Also not happy about the increased spending. Do you want to guess who my MP is? Where I am now.
You're Rachel Reeves, aren't you?
Oh, the guy who lives in Leeds is obviously going to know. Yes, Rachel Reeves. I'm blessed.
Well, no, I'm Alex. Is it Alex Sober? Alex.
Wait, are you not Hillary Benn?
I thought I was Hillary Benn, but I. What are you, Leeds
I
Central?
used to be Hillary Benn when I lived not too far away from where you are.
No, I double checked it. I'm not actually Hillary Benn. I thought it was Hillary Benn.
No, you're Curtis Daly.
Oh, I get confused sometimes.
Sorry, I just turned schizophrenic for a second. Jesus,
so fucking rude. Okay.
Put this up. I did apparently your hitman's here. Kevin Logan Hitman. Lewis always checking your bike.
They've legit fucking done an account called. Is that? Yes, that's Hitman from the games.
They just created that account just for this.
Jesus
Christ. I mean, do you not realize we have a Curtis Daly pen? There is something else. What is it? Ben. No, is it Len McLean? Like, we literally have the most fucked up viewers. Well, they will make up accounts just to leave a comment. And do you know what? I'm here for it because
honestly, people will actively search out weird account names on Twitch to load out for me. So I've had like Idi Amin become a member on the Twitch, and
you've had who?
Idi Amin.
Idi Amin,
the former vastly murderous dictator of Uganda.
Right, has your face been superimposed and photoshopped?
Someone's probably driving around Rachel Reeves' constituency now, looking for me. No, I mean, I'm in.
I love my country. I love my country.
Did I say I was in Rachel Reeves' constituency? I meant Richard Bergen in East Leeds, not West Leeds.
Well, no, I live in Al Khan's constituency. Come find me, you cunt. Come on.
Give me that fucking GDP.
Let's go.
To be fair, the legit could be far right wing people like watching the stream trying to find who we are. Like, actually, when I was making videos for the Canary a few years ago, I made a few videos on my
Canary friend.
Oh my fucking god! Just because you got no friends, all right? No,
Yeah,
you're joking.
true.
You got friends. You got friends. I made videos on my balcony, and I was told by the editors, like, you need to refilm that inside. I was like, why? I was like, there will be people, like, you're brown and also talking about anti-fascism and speaking about the far right. They will fucking find you. And I was like, that's great. And this is, like, kind of like the early years of doing political content. I was like, well, that's fucking lovely. So I had to, like, could not show anything on film, like, where it possibly could be. But of course, though, Nigel Farage is the most threatened politician, and it's the right wing who are in danger.
He's such a cry-bully piece of shit. The amount of violence he wants to enact on other people is outstanding, and like 2 MPs have been murdered.
That's so disgusting. The way in which he acts like he's the most persecuted MP, and all he's had is a couple of fucking milkshakes.
Well, exactly.
Whereas...
It's like Trump. Like, Trump goes, I'm the most attacked American president.
I mean, technically, he has been. Assassination attempts.
Well, 4 of them.
Well, there could have just been one, but
yeah, four American presidents have been assassinated. Like, I know it's bad luck that he wasn't a 5th, but still.
I mean, like, do you think all of them are fake, or like?
I think some of them are a fake. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe all. I think probably the first one. I don't
It's difficult to know. It's difficult.
It's hard to know with someone like Trump as well. Like, he legit would do that.
Yeah, of course he would. Yeah.
And no one buys the ballroom thing.
We're going to try something with Farage, because do you remember when he was doing that whole thing, like, they're reducing my security, they're trying to kill me thing, and they were like really pushing it, and I was like, this would be the perfect time for a false flag.
Well, do you know what? He keeps on saying to the mainstream media, I try and speak to the states to give me more protections, or any protection, they refuse me. I've researched this, by the way, completely unsubstantiated. There is no evidence whatsoever that the state doesn't give him protection. Now, what I think is that he's asking for extra protection, because he's like, well, I'm a prominent MP, and which, fair enough, he is a more prominent MP than many others. So I think there's grounds for him to ask for more money. I don't actually oppose that. But I think they're turning around and saying, but technically you are not a minister, you're not part of the government, you're not a deputy prime minister or a prime minister, you're going to get the same amount of money as a standard MP, right? Now, you may disagree or agree with that. However, he will turn around and say, that is the state basically saying, they won't protect me. It's like, no, it's not that. Like, you're going to get the same amount of money as Zara Sultana. Okay, because Zara Sultana holds no power apart from an MP. Now, again, like you might say, maybe Farage and other people who might not have ministerial positions or work in government, but are more famous, maybe they need more money. Fine, have that discussion, change the rules. But he is acting like the state don't support him, and that's why he needs £5 million from Christopher Harbin. It's rubbish, and I researched it. There is no evidence to suggest that.
Yeah, he's full of shit. Yeah.
Well,
He's full of shit.
Where the money's probably gone is the interesting time. Well, it's not even like interesting; it's just a consolidation. But the Times article that came out like yesterday, I think, they basically went over like a full review of all of his properties. So it was 5 in total between him and his partner. One wasn't paid for in cash because it was through a divorce. The second one in 2020 was 500 grand, but they don't say that one is paid in cash. So that one must have been a mortgage. And then the other 3 paid for in cash. One of them's getting over £1 million worth of renovations because they're tearing it down and then redoing it. And then the £1.4 million one that Sky News revealed, that was 2023 or 2024, is also getting an extra £350,000 of renovations, all bought for in cash. So we can guess where some of the money's gone. The problem is that when he said that he used some of the money from Thorn in the Side Media, his company, bit of a problem when the accounts keep going up every single year, Farage, and they don't go down. We're going to know where the money's coming from. I wonder.
I appreciate that it is
convicted of money laundering.
I appreciate it is
I'm
quarter past 9.
Don't see me.
I appreciate it's 9:15, but we haven't spoke about the Greens, so we need to quickly go through those comments.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. But to start off, Michael says, update for Kevin and Curtis. BBC reporting England versus Mexico has been moved to 7 p.m. Sunday because of weather issues. Now, BST. What's BST? Is that this is
British
Standard Time.
this is our timeline, right?
It's British summertime.
It's British Standard Time, isn't it?
It's British summertime.
So that means we get to enjoy England at 7 p.m. This is the best news I've ever heard in my life.
Well, I believe it's 6 p.m., isn't it?
Why?
Because for some reason I don't know why, but the hours that they're telling us, it's always an hour in front, and I don't know why they do it that way. I presume they give the GMT.
Well, you were
time.
saying in America when the games are on, they're always giving it an hour earlier.
Yeah, because they give us the what do you call it? Greenwich Mean Time hour, and we're an hour ahead, so it's always an hour.
Are we?
Yeah,
we're an hour ahead of Greenwich time.
Yeah.
Wait, how?
Yeah. Well, because Greenwich Mean Time is fixed based on what time it is officially in Greenwich, but the hours.
I see, but when it comes to hours forward and backwards, they don't fix for that.
Yeah.
So time is a concept.
So half the year we're an hour ahead of GMT.
So what you're saying is it could actually be 6 p.m.
I think it will be at 6 p.m. Yeah.
But is this not incredible news? Oh, so good.
Well, it is good, but it means because it's apparently there are going to be thunderstorms at the time, and
it's 6 p.m. local time on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So
well, it's better than 3 a.m.
So not only are they playing halfway up a mountain, but it's going to be scorching hot as well. Brilliant, awesome, cool.
Well, yeah. Anyway, that's we got a Twitch comment. So about the Greens, obviously there has been issues with the campaign. Well, from our perspective, that the Greens have put, and I know it's early days, but it's like, it's Greens versus Reform. That's it. We're doing the tactical vote thing. I think a lot of Green Party supporters, and to be honest, like I'm not a member, but I would consider myself a Green Party supporter. Like, and I'm not stupid that Andy Burnham has wooed me back to Labour. It's never fucking happening. And to be honest, you could probably get a Jeremy Corbyn figure become Labour leader, and I don't know if I could ever vote Labour again because of the genocide. Like that is something that's a red line for me. Okay, but they're doing the Labour thing, which is a two-party race. Now, Catbreen says, I don't like the Greens are reverting to the two-party messaging. And that's quite interesting because at the top of the video, the mayoral candidate Coggins says that this isn't a two-party system. True. But then sort of goes to, but you need to vote for us to stop reform, which is very much two-party politics. So I agree with you, Kat, that I don't like this kind of messaging, which is like, we need to understand we're in a five-party system. However, let's pretend it's like first past the post, but we're just the bigger players. That doesn't serve the Green Party well.
What is the electoral system for Greater Manchester? Wasn't there a recent change?
It's a weird change. It's like SV or something like that. I don't even understand it, right? But it's not particularly democratic. It's not PR.
Okay. The BBC says a supplementary vote. The change. This is not even written correctly. BBC, come on, what are we paying you for? The change see a switch. It's literally what it says. From first past the post. This is used in general elections to the supplementary vote system. Under SV, voters have a first and second choice, and if no candidate wins more than 50% of the vote after the first preference votes are counted, the top two candidates will go to a runoff. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Can they just not fight to the death, please?
Yeah, exactly. Just go old Roman style with it. Build a Colosseum. Give them a knife. Give them a sword and a shield.
Trial by combat, you know.
Exactly. Whoever wins gets to rule Manchester for 4 years.
Who's the Reform candidate? I think they're like a big time landlord. They keep picking really bad candidates, and it's so funny.
Well, it's almost like they've only got bad members.
Sean
True.
Ashley? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Don't know anything about the Labour candidate. Have they even announced the Labour candidate?
Yeah,
it's
Bev Craig, leader of the Manchester City Council.
Sir Steer Carver is
No, don't worry. He's going to go for some international job. Like I legit think he would love to be some sort of ICC prosecutor.
Galloway's
would
running.
need to prosecute himself. Is Galloway running? Galloway, he's such a fucking opportunist, man.
Is he actually confirmed? 1 second.
It can't be. He's everywhere. He's
He's
everywhere.
running.
Fuck
He is
yes.
such an opportunist. The thing is, in the last 3 years, even though I had my criticisms of George Galloway 3 years ago, the last 3 years have proven that I have absolutely zero respect for him. Because at least I can say he's a great orator, he's great on Israel-Palestine. But now it's 3 years later, he's trash on everything else, and there is no legitimate position to be good. There's no legitimate position apart from being good on Israel-Palestine. You can't not be good on Israel-Palestine because it's a fucking genocide.
Well, I'm glad he's running, because what we need is a fifth transphobic candidate.
And to be fair, there is no constituency. I might be wrong, but there's no constituency of Workers' Party, Green Party crossover. There just isn't.
Not
so
really, no.
I mean, there's no votes he can pull away from. There's no party, is there? So
Well, no, but he's not trying to win, really. He's just in essence, it's the Monster Raving Loony Party doing it for the advertisement.
Yeah, true.
But with a veneer of sensible politics to it, which
The thing is, if people are actually smart, like the people who love doing foreign interference, if they would have actually waited for the right moment, Galloway would have been a very powerful person, not powerful person, but a good person to back if they want somebody who's actually a very good orator.
A throbbing opportunist.
I've been playing that on my. I've got that on my sound.
He's funny. I'll be the cat. Still, I'll never get over the Big Brother shit, though. You know.
No, but it's still the greatest sentence ever from that throbbing to me, because I was in a gay bar in
I was
Redfern,
in a gay bar and
within earshot of Lenin's tomb. YMCA.
and they're singing YMCA, a throbbing opportunist. Fuck.
Amazing.
The guy is just nuts. Okay. So, where'd I get to? What'd I get to? Ollie Carpenter says, I wish her luck, but I feel Manchester needs a big personality, perhaps someone young and hungry. Again, I don't really know much about Coggins. Now, to be fair, Ben, to us, has been saying she's really impressive. I need to look into her more. But in Gorton Denton, you had the whole working class plumber thing. At the moment, there's really nothing. And also,
She's a PhD philosopher.
Right, I mean, who gives a fuck about philosophy? No one. Now, Sorry, but no.
Says,
sorry, one second.
Says the Marxist. Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I would consider him a philosopher. He's a scientist. No, I'm joking. Because economics. No. I've had that entire fucking like argument on Twitter that like economics is not science or law. Or I've had a bunch of ANCAP saying no, supply and demand is literally law. Fuck off. But there is no flair, I don't think, right now, that particular candidate. And I also must say, right, whilst I think they're on 13%, which is really respectable for the Greens, but during the Gorton-Tetter campaign, like, the Greens were already in the 20%, right? Unless I'm wrong, I don't remember seeing them being very low in vote share, and then they sort of, really made massive gains. All the polls showed Reform, Tories, and the Greens were in the margin of error or within 5%. So, like, Hannah Spencer didn't have a mountain to climb. She already had that support. Whereas here, like, the Greens need to get, like, 20% higher than what they're polling, which I feel like that shit only happens in America, right? Zora Mamdani on 1% as NYC mayor, he wins. Bernie Sanders on 1%, he nearly beats Hillary Clinton. That sort of shit happens in America, partly because their elections are so fucking long as well. They're like 6 months long. They've got time to do it. But there seems to be a phenomenon in America where people rise quickly. That doesn't really happen that much in British politics, I don't think. I can't see someone starting on 13% to then win 30 to 35% to become mayor. Maybe I'm pessimistic. I don't know.
What is this going around? Apparently, Zach Polanski was given 3.5 million quid by Bill Gates. I wasn't even getting my phone out to talk about that, but
I mean,
apparently that's something going around. Is that new?
Well, I've not heard of that, but that sounds like bullshit.
Yeah. Why would fucking Epstein's mate be giving Zach Polanski money?
I know this guy from TikTok Web Mutuals. He does troll videos. Like, he always makes his videos seem like he's actually right wing.
Oh, it's trolling.
I don't know if, like, I think the person who's posted it is the person from GB News who has complained. Yeah, that's the woman who's posted it. That's the one from GB News who got lots of complaints for calling about when they were talking about the recent case with the baby.
Oh,
that looks like her.
Well, I typed in Zach Polanski, Bill Gates, and the first thing that comes up is in quotes. I did nothing illicit. Bill Gates admits affairs, apologizes.
So what this is then is a GB News anchor or whatever being too much of a thick cunt and falling for some trolling online and thinking it was real.
No way. They don't do that.
No. Well,
but the reason why I picked up my phone anyway, not just to ignore everyone and casually browse, is because apparently Andy Burnham...
Sorry, I'm watching the football, so it's fine. Go for it.
Apparently Andy Burnham has confirmed on Reddit, of all things, that he's not calling a general election.
Okay.
What a surprise. He's miles behind in the polls. Why would he?
He's not miles behind in the polls. Polls showing that actually he's ahead. Well, some polls got him ahead. He's definitely not miles. No, he's not miles behind.
The poll of polls still has Labour at several points behind Reform.
Yeah, but you can't. You can, like, you have to wait until the Burnham effect happens, right? You can't. That will be Keir Starmer's leadership of the last 2 years. I wouldn't say they're drastically behind because I think obviously the Burnham effect. He is more popular,
and they've got
for some reason,
and they've got no money to fight a general election anyway.
Who?
Labour Party. They've got no members. They've got no fans. The stadium's shit.
Well, that's the thing. That's a really interesting point, right? Because Keir Starmer really courted the corporations. He got John Caldwell, the founder of Phones for You, a massive billionaire, right? He got Sainsbury's guy.
Mr. Sainsbury's.
Yeah. Let's just say it, Mr. Sainsbury's. He got a bunch of corporate donors, and then now everyone's like, oh, it's going to move to the left under Andy Burnham and tax rises. I don't think they're going to get the same corporate donors, but they don't have the membership. Whereas Jeremy Corbyn was like, I don't need your fucking dirty money because I've got 600,000 strong people to give me money. And then they cleared their debts and they were financially fine. Yeah. So, in terms of money-wise, they have fuck all. But to be honest, though, and I think we're quite lucky still, just about, we're not like America, in America, money buys elections. I don't think that's complete here. Reform, if money bought elections complete in this country, reform would be winning everywhere. They keep fucking losing. Local elections, granted, they're winning, but the last 3 by-elections, they keep losing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just because we don't like misinformation on this channel, apparently LBC have said the match might be at 7, but by the way, it's actually not confirmed that it's moving. They're just saying it's an ongoing.
Okay.
So
Well, I love how you're like, oh, we don't want to push out misinformation. I thought, oh, something really specific and important. You talk about the England game. One can dream. One can dream. £2 super chat, Kevin. Logan Hitman again. Please watch your bike. Everyone check behind them. Ban all milkshake shops in Clacton.
I just want to say, if anything does happen to Aaron, I had nothing to do with it. I'm not actually a hitman. I don't agree with assassinations. So there you go. Also, don't make light of him having milkshakes thrown at him, okay? This is so typical of the lactose intolerant left.
Lactose intolerant left. I love that. Yeah, no, we should be taking this really seriously, to be fair.
We should.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm going to leave that there because it is 9:30. Although I do, like, we shouldn't, we always have meetings about, let's keep the shows for an hour and a quarter, and we always go over. But I do like to see, like, one day that we can do longer shows.
Kevin's raging, he's missing the game.
No, I'm not raging. I'm just watching it now. Fuck it.
Rude fucking
Curtis
bastard.
Like, this
no,
is
during the main
right.
show. During the main show, I didn't have it on. Right?
Yeah,
but during the talky bit at the end, I feel like I can chill. I've got my fan on. I'm watching the game. I can still do politics. It's good. Yeah.
But I kind of would like to see Turn Left do longer shows. Like, even we have to get paid for it before we do that. But I want to do like 3-hour shows where it's like we can cover so much stuff. I know your face is like making. I'm not saying we're doing that tomorrow. We're doing that tomorrow. But like that would be kind of cool if we'd made our shows longer.
If I make it to the next show.
Exactly.
Are you going to be all right?
Well, the hitman might strike. You never know.
Yeah, but I'm sure. Look, do you know anyone who could replace Lewis before he goes? Like, just give me some names, innit?
No one.
No, he's irreplaceable.
As Beyonce once said.
Don't say that because that literally makes the hitman like more likely to kill him. Oh, he's irreplaceable. He's got all the
Okay,
data.
he's fucking useless then. He's pointless.
I'm clipping that.
There you go.
Comes on our show and calls the host a fucking useless bastard. How dare you? Anyway, right. Sorry, I'm rambling. It's 9:30. I'm gonna leave it there.
You did go a bit pirate there, by the way.
Did I?
It's 9:30.
He's very fine.
No, I did not sound like that.
You
Shut
did.
up.
You're a wizard, Harry. Sorry, no, that's terrible.
Honestly, it was like listening to the Wurzel.
Well, I didn't know, did I? So.
No, you did a bit.
Probably didn't.
Yeah.
Well. Anyway, right, great. Thank you, guys. I'm going to hand it back. To both of you. Bye.
We're grown up, sensible news politics show. Yes.
I thought you zoomed in then massively, but you were just leaning forward. God, that'll be on the front of the paper soon as a mugshot.
Anyway.
Lewis is killer. Anyway,
yeah, that'll be in the front of the pages when I fucking assassinate you.
you know which constituency I'm in.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, thanks for a lovely show. I will let Kevin go because I'm sure he's got absolutely loads of things to do.
Well, I'm going to stay on because I'm now going on with a regular friend of the show, No Justice MTG, to look at something. Yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we will see you again in the future, Kevin. Or will I? No, I'm going to give up on the assassin jokes now.
Well, look, you might not see me, but I'll see you.
I'll watch under my bike. Anyway, let's leave it there. Let's do
that. Yeah.
The screen's on the wrong person. God, Curtis, get it right, Curtis. Anyway, if I make it to next show, I'll see you then. And if I don't make it, you know what happened to me. And I don't know who it would be who'd take me out, but you can probably guess. And all the information is safely secure away. No, it's not. I'm not organized enough for that shit. It's just in random places. So good luck finding it all. I've got shitloads of weird notes that are all in lots of weird places. So, and I just hope that they don't find like all the, photos on my phone that like weird things that that sounds really weird in that way. That sounds so weird in that way. And now people are laughing in the background in my ear. No, because I've got so many screenshots of like I've been trying to find like pictures of people that I've been investigating. So I've got like loads of weird screenshots on my phone of like, is it this person? Is it that person? And just anyway, I'm just digging myself a deeper hole. I'm digging myself a deeper hole. The producer's saying, cut the fucking show, Lewis, cut the fucking show. Anyway, this has been Normal Island Live. I will hopefully see you at the next show, but we'll be back on Monday. And thank you to everyone who has commented, donated, joined its membership. And I hope everybody has a lovely weekend. And if you're watching the England match, enjoy it. If you're rooting for the other side, I don't blame you. And we'll see everyone next week.